Hey everybody, and welcome to the start of a very exciting new series. At least I hope it's exciting, despite that initial stutter. I am here playing Europa Universalis for the new grand strategy title from Paradox Development Studio, the development studio who you may know for Europa Universalis 3, obviously, Victoria 2 as well as its expansions, and of course, Crusader Kings 2 as well as its expansions. So, I have several hours in Europa Universalis 4 already, although I am far from an expert, and I'm going to try to do a representative playthrough, although, you know, with dice rolls and randomized nature and the sandbox type gameplay that we have here, anything could happen. Of Castile, so I'm playing as Castile, eventually hoping to form Spain. I'm not sure if you can form the Empire of Hispania, but let's set the stage for where we are with Castile. We are, basically done with the Reconquista, where the Catholics take control of the Iberian Peninsula from the Muslims who had controlled it from like the 8th century or the 9th century onwards for a while. And there's only one kind of Muslim nation left here. If I go to the religion map, actually I guess there's Sunni. I'm not sure if that's a sect of Muslim or Islam. I apologize for my religion's ignorance. Anyway, that's left here. So we're almost done with the Reconquista. Unfortunately, as you can see here, we do have a truce with Granada, so we can't declare war on Granada or it will drastically lower the stability of our nation. So this is something, we're going to finish the Reconquista eventually, as one of our missions is here, finish the Reconquista, but we're not going to do that just yet. We have a very powerful potential spoiler here in Portugal. Portugal's a very strong nation in Europa Universalis. Not necessarily when it comes to war, although to a certain extent, yes. But also when it comes to colonization. I want to talk about colonization a bit. It's 1444. We're going to look to colonize further east, essentially. West, essentially, across the Atlantic Ocean, and eventually discover land in North America, maybe at some point over the course of these episodes. We already have our first colony right here in the Canary Islands, or the Canarias. I specifically chose Castile, just so I would mispronounce absolutely everything, of course. But anyway, there's Portugal, and then we have a very powerful rival in Aragon, which is another sect of, Spaniards, I suppose, and probably our very first goal might be to try to take out Aragon, and the way that I'm going to try to do this is by improving my relationship with Portugal so that they become a fan of ours and will join us in this war against Aragon. And by no means is it a guarantee that we would succeed in this. It'll probably take a couple of episodes to set up as well. The other thing I want to point out is that, weirdly enough, I didn't know this before starting, but Castile controls the papacy at the very start of the game in 1444. So I'm not sure if that's randomized. I assume it's based on historically accurate details. So if we wanted to, we could get nuts and maybe, we see Morocco here and we're like, oh, that would look really good in Castilian colors. So we could go to papal actions. We could actually call for a crusade, which gives us a significant manpower and income bonus while at war, but I don't really want to do that yet. We're going to try to expand into North Africa eventually, because this is going to help us a lot with colonization. But for now, let's just enjoy being the papal controller, and we will try to maybe take out Aragon. So step one, let's take control of some of this stuff that we have here at the top. We'll hire some advisors. I'm going to, in particular, hire a military advisor. Hopefully, they're all the same price. And we'll get national manpower modifier plus 10. That seems reasonable. And a diplomatic advisor who gives us... these are all the same except for this guy. We'll go with a diplomatic reputation plus 5. And also our administrative advisor. Yearly inflation reduction, yearly prestige, national revolt. National revolt risk is going to be something we're going to have to worry about. Now, we have a national decision available. Pass Advancement of Religion Act. Make it a legal offense for servants and the like to read our Holy Bible. Reserve that right for clerics and noblemen. Ooh, what does that do? National revolt risk plus 1, missionary strength plus 1. I'm not going to take this decision yet. Let's take a mission, and I'm going to take the most simple mission of all. Spread our culture to Vizcaya. We can't do that until we have 75 diplomatic power, but this is going to be what we'll take as our mission, because it's an easy one. We don't get great rewards, 10 diplomatic power, but it gives us something to do before we finish the Reconquista in 1448 when this truce ends, or go to war with Aragon, which, again, preparation for that might take more than 4 years. We can hire a free military leader. Wait, we already have a military leader, so let's put him on that right there. You can see the stats of your military leaders, by the way, in fire, shock, maneuver, and siege. This guy's a bad sieger, but his maneuvering, fire, and shock are pretty good, so we'll put him there. I guess we can still hire another free one. Normally this costs military power, which is this kind of currency up here. I hope it didn't there. And we'll just make him the leader of this very small regiment here. And what else do we have? National decisions available. We're going to ignore that for now. Disputed succession, I believe Navarra might have disputed succession. We're going to on pause in just a second. First things first. Portugal likes us a lot. Let's see if we can get an alliance with them. Fantastic. So we'll send that through. We have 3 diplomats. And let's try to form an alliance maybe with... I mean, Grenada's not going to like us. Morocco's not going to like us. There's no point in investing there. The reason Aragon's a problem for us, by the way, the reason we want a lot of people on our side is because they're also part of a personal union with Naples, who is a vassal of theirs. So they command a lot of forces, and it would definitely be a knockdown, drag-out fight at this point. Who are they? They're not aligned with anybody yet, but they have a truce with some people. I'm just trying to think here. Maybe Brittany could be convinced, but I don't necessarily want to be in alliance with Brittany because if you decline their calls to arms, then you have some problems. Anyway, so let's let some time go by here, and we'll on pause. Portugal's accepted our offer to end into a military alliance. Genoa wants to join an alliance, which I'm going to decline. And we're just going to let a little bit of time pass here. And then we'll prepare for war with someone. I almost want to go to war with Morocco immediately, but again, I think this would be a bad decision. With 3 diplomats, we might as well do something. Who is Brittany aligned with? They are aligned with Scotland and Burgundy. That tells me that they might not live that much longer, because Burgundy typically falls apart pretty quickly. I would love to align with France, but they actually can't afford more diplomatic relations. So it's almost like to the point where I should start looking to like Algiers or something like that. Who are they? They're aligned with Morocco, which means they're going to betray our alliance. Oh, they're allied with Tripoli. Okay. So let's improve our relations with Algiers for now. They could potentially help us in this fight against Aragon. And why don't we improve our relations with Morocco as well? And maybe eventually they will be able to form an alliance with us. And when it comes to Aragon, we can declare war on them straight away, but it might be best to instead fabricate a claim on one of these provinces, maybe Aragon itself. And this will give us the ability to declare war on them more easily. I just want to check something very quickly before we let more time pass. Looking at our religious unity, the only county that is not Catholic is this animist island that we have essentially discovered here with our settlers. Other thing I should do. Very last thing here, I promise. Where is our navy? There are 18 ships here. Okay, so these ships, we'll just have them patrol basically the Straits of Gibraltar here, because it's going to be a very naval... an area of naval significance, I should say. And we'll have these guys protect the trade route to Sevilla. All right, now we'll let some time go by. And this is, you know, depending on who you play in Europa Universalis 4, there is a little bit of a hurry up and wait kind of style of gameplay. It varies both with your personal play style and the country that you're playing as. For example, I was playing as Poland earlier. Poland definitely has some actions that it can take early with Pomerania, Lithuania, Mazovia, and Moldavia, trying to vassalize them. The Ottomans have a ton of stuff that they can do early by taking out Byzantium, Athens, Albania, and then trying to spread in, and eventually they'll get in with the Mamluks and the Timurids who are over here. But as Castile, diplomacy plays a much larger role in our experience. So I want to make sure that I'm, you know, getting good relationships with these nations, and eventually putting myself in a position where I have allies that I can call upon in times of war. And once I start conquering or taking care of my own borders, and, you know, my own area is okay, that's good. I just want to see what one of my diplomats is doing. Improve relations in Al-Dajar, improve relations in Marrakesh, and improve relations... Oh, fabricate a claim in Valencia. Okay, that's fine. Is Algiers ready to do an alliance with us yet? That's the real question. Okay, they are. So I'm going to stop improving relations, and once that diplomat comes back, I will have him offer an alliance, and then I'm going to use this guy to try to work on vassalizing... we have a new pope, okay. To work on trying to vassalize Navarra. Good, okay, so Algiers is in our pocket. Is Morocco? Morocco's pretty close as well. We might as well take care of them right away. We've been informed that Aragon have been discovered fabricating a claim on our province Castilla la Vieja. That is not unexpected. We're going to offer another alliance to Morocco. And this is basically just to give us a ton of allies that we can use to take out Aragon. You know, my enemy's enemy is my friend. If these guys are enemies of Aragon, then they're friends of mine for now. Although eventually, of course, I will want to finish the Reconquista and take over Granada and eventually expand into North Africa. But for now, Aragon is going to be a thorn in my side for the rest of the game, I think, if I don't take care of them right away. So that's our storyline. I'm trying to build up the narrative here. We're eventually going to stab Morocco and Algiers in the back, and hopefully we'll have the manpower to do so. Now, remember, our first mission is to convert the culture in Vizcaya from Basque to Castilian. Cost us 75 diplomatic power, which we now have. and it'll take 3 years, so prepare for that. And then we'll, just in time for a new mission, possibly finish the Reconquista and take over Granada here with this 3-province nation. As we zoom out, you can see. Beautiful. I still don't want to pass the Advancement of Religious Act, because the missionary strength doesn't really bother me right now. We have really good religious unity. And what was it? We have 1 diplomat who's returning right now, I believe, and he is back. Okay, so now we're going to have him go to Navarra here, and he's got a number of things they can do with Navarra. So we're going to try to make sure they're in our pocket as well, because obviously they're kind of, the kid in the middle of this Spanish divorce between Castile and Aragon. So first thing, we're going to offer them an alliance. One thing I want to point out, by the way, is that when you play as Castile, you're playing as one of the premier nations in the game. It might seem like we're kind of tucked away in the corner here, but you can see, based on the score here, I'm actually in 2nd place. I have the 4th biggest military, 3rd best administration, and 8th best diplomacy. That's really, really good. I don't know who's in number 1 right now. Maybe the Ottomans might be number 1 in score. Maybe Austria, although I doubt it. Maybe France, although I doubt it. And maybe Sweden. But I believe it's the Ottomans. So we have a chance to potentially catch up to them. But anyway, for now, we're probably going to play things pretty slowly. So in order to vassalize somebody, you need to fulfill a number of criteria. One is to have plus 190 relations, which we're not even close to, but the other ones we can take care of right now. So we're just going to wait until time goes by, and then we're going to offer a royal marriage on September 2nd, because you can't send a diplomat too quickly back to the same nation. So we'll offer a royal marriage, and they will accept that. This is to improve the strength, the relationship between our nations. They've got a call to arms for us now. And then afterwards, we'll just have this guy work to improve relations until it hits 190, and then they should accept our vassalization request. A call to arms from one of our allies, Navarra, is requesting that you come to their aid in the conflict against Aragon and Naples. This is a defensive war, so Navarra didn't start it. And Aragon is allied with Burgundy. Okay, we will accept because we don't want to lose the prestige. We will handle all negotiations for this war. And what is the war over? Aragonese subjugation of Navarra. We have Castile, Leinster. The pronunciation mistake I always make comes back to bite me in the ass here. Against Aragon and Naples. Sorry, we have Navarra and Tyrone as well. You know what I will do? Let's just organize our troops here first. We might as well have these guys merge up, actually. Aragon is very strong at this point in the game, so we're just going to take things a little slowly here. With our diplomat, we can call people to arms. They have war exhaustion, so Portugal's not interested. A call to arms. They are so close. Morocco is so close to joining our war. How about Algiers? Algiers will join us in the fight. So we'll have them come in here. We want as many allies as possible. Burgundy have all honored their military alliance, so now we're at war with Burgundy as well, who is a fairly significant kind of West European state at this point. We are going to merge these 21 troops together, which is a waste of a military leader. But the Algerians are fighting some naval battles here. I don't really want to get involved in the naval battles yet because my navy is not particularly strong. But we are going to have our troops march up here. We have a numbers advantage, which should mean we have a reasonable chance of winning this battle right now. Well, Morocco's still not interested, although they are so close. Our ports are being blockaded, which is unfortunate. That lowers our trading power. And, you know, we don't want to necessarily wipe the floor with Aragon in this battle, or in this war, although it might be nice. Mostly, I just want to make sure that Navarra stays independent so that I can eventually turn it into my own province. We are at a disadvantage in this fight, but we are also going to... We won a naval battle in there, which gave us 0% war score, and we also won this battle as well, which gave us another 1%. So let's just back our troops out there, and we'll let them reinforce a little bit. If you're not familiar with how the military works in this game, you know, you'll kind of just divine it after a while. Basically, as men die, they reinforce from your counties, and they reinforce at a rate of, you know, X thousand troops per month, and it costs you money to reinforce. Eventually, when this manpower limit goes, or when this number goes all the way down, then you're not going to get any more reinforcements. This is basically like the number of war-ready males in your country that can be drafted up into the army. So... this will continue to dwindle down as reinforcements come in, and then when we're not at war and soldiers are not dying, it'll tick up as more people become of age and choose to be a career soldier, I guess. National epic. Our subjects have taken to telling tales and legends about Enrique III, the Trastamara, The legend says that in Castile's darkest hour, he will return to our nation and deliver it from evil. Regardless of the truth in that statement, we could use this in our propaganda. So, do we want a national epic for another 10 years? That'll give us 10 extra prestige, 1 per year. Cost us 10 administrative power and 21 ducats. Or no, lose 5 prestige. Yes, I love a good story. Why not? The attacker usually has a disadvantage in these fights, which is what you're noticing here to a certain extent. Revolt's possible. The Canarias, that is our settlement, or sorry, our colony over here. We'll get more colonists eventually. We need to spend diplomatic power to make it happen. Yes, typically the aggressor has a disadvantage in these battles due to a river crossing, especially apparently in Spain. There's a ton of them. It actually looks like Navarra might win this battle. Basically, when that green bar ticks all the way down, they lose, even if they still have superior numbers. It's meant to be symbolic, I guess, of enemy morale hitting an all-time low or something. I think Navarra did win that. So we're just going to try to head off this Aragonian army here. I don't know if that's the correct pronunciation. We didn't quite catch him. Let's see if we can catch him out here then. Oh, there's another battle, and they actually do not have a disadvantage this time. So maybe I don't know what I'm talking about with respect to the rock, paper, scissors mechanic going on, but we are going to help them win this battle. That should give us another little war score bonus. We are up to 6%, and as the war leader, this is something that it doesn't apply all that often in CK2, but as the war leader, we do have the potential to negotiate for the rest of the nation. Oh, these are enemies. Okay, so first off, we're going to detach enough units to execute a siege properly and take our other 11 units down here to push this Aragonian army into the sea, essentially. I mean, you know, we can probably detach enough units to do a siege here as well. I worry because Aragon has a sizable navy. Family secret. The first time you brush it off, but when it happens the second and third time, you do begin to wonder, why are people laughing at you when they think you can't hear them? After you've asked around for more than a bit, you finally manage to get an answer out of a chambermaid. It appears that your heir has been running around in a most un-Christian fashion, and that your family is now becoming the laughingstock of Europe. We could scold him publicly, which will cost us prestige, or say so, which will reduce the claim strength of our heir, which also reduces our legitimacy. It's not a good idea. I'll take the 5 prestige hit here, even though that's disappointing. That's okay. Good governance will sometimes prompt the nobility and businessmen of the realm to donate cash to the treasury out of pure patriotism or in exchange for the sales or transfer of honorary titles and position. Do we want prestige or ducats? I'm going to take ducats here because, you know, while we're in war, probably a good idea for me to keep the treasury as high as possible. Now, we have won the Battle of Murcia here, not the Battle of Murka, as so many people seem to think it always is. And we're just going to start sieging, essentially, all of the Aragonian holdings here. And since Aragon is the war leader, we should be able to push them out of the war pretty quickly. So we're already at 10% war score. We're going to detach enough here. And the thing is, unlike Crusader Kings 2, and this is one of the things I really, really like about Europa Universalis 4, whether it's historically accurate or not, in Crusader Kings 2, essentially when you have a war, if it's a defensive war, you never get territory in it, at least as far as I know. You kind of have to fabricate a claim and then aggressively push for it, and then even if you win a total war over the country, you only get the province that you claimed. That sucks. It makes things take a lot longer, and, you know, I understand why they did it. Crusader Kings 2 is still a great game. But in Europa Universalis 4, even though we are fighting a defensive war here, we have the potential to gain more territory in victory, I think, if we get this war score to tick up really high. Okay, there's a new cardinal. Von Hain has become an active cardinal. He's loyal to the Teutonic Order, which is in, like, northwestern Europe. Who invested 20 in the cardinal, you invested 0. He's replacing de Aragon, who is known to adhere to our divinely inspired advice. So I guess maybe we're no longer the papal controller? No, we're still the papal controller. But this guy's become a new cardinal. I guess it's based on, like, the amount of papal investiture that you make. Like, the more money you pay the church, the more papal influence you have. Anyway, I don't want to lose the... Obviously, I don't want to lose the influence of the papacy right now because we can call crusades. But anyway, we can also excommunicate people, which can be useful to start holy wars. But a revolt in Vizcaya. High taxes and cultural and religious differences have caused unhappiness among our citizens. If this continues, it will drastically affect the stability of our nation. Let's lose 1 prestige and avoid... Because the options here are basically civil war. We'll fight down some rebels, which is easy enough, but we're already at war, and I don't want to divert our resources from it. Or lower taxes, and then you get a lower tax modifier. We'll make less money. We lose 1 prestige, which is not a huge deal. But we avoid war, which is important. So we continue to win battles here. I think basically Aragon is trying to land troops. I apologize for playing on speed 5. It's just a smart idea. A peace offer from Aragon. Let's see. You've received an offer of peace from Aragon. They are offering us 56 ducats. No casus belli. Castile gains 0.4 prestige. Now, you know, I clicked accept there just to essentially make it happen because I don't want to deal with this war anymore. So we got 56 ducats. And we didn't get any provinces, which is bad, but by the same token, we proved our superiority over Aragon. They will be, you know, disheartened maybe. We have gained the conquest casus belli against Aragon. We've been tasked with conquering certain provinces. Ah, good, so our fabricated claim on Aragon has also come through. Good. So we're just going to play on speed 5 until all our troops get back into our own territory, because we're basically just having them walk here. Good. Okay, so we have 19 troops. We're going to merge these guys. I'm going to do some very quick kind of administrative stuff. We have a leader that we do not need, so I'm going to fire him because that costs us military power all the time. I know we can hire a free military leader, but we don't need to do it yet. We could do it, I guess. How close are we to converting Vizcaya? It's going to finish on July 16th, 1448, so it's like a year and a half away. Okay, revolt's possible. That makes sense. That's in our colony. National decisions available. Pass Advancement of Religion Act. I still don't want to do this. The other thing I wanted to mention is that by not taking provinces from Aragon, we suffer no stability penalties. So it was basically, we got a net positive. We probably could have cut into Aragon a little bit and taken a province or two, but I don't really want to because it would have caused us to have instability in our nation. Other nations would look at us less favorably because we'd expanded aggressively. And in merely a year, when is our truce with Granada expires in 6 months. So we'll take Granada easily. Who are they allied with? Nobody. They have a truce with us. But yeah, that will be what we'll focus on, because on January 1st, that'll expire. What else do we have? We have claims on provinces we don't own, yes, but we can't declare war on Aragon just yet, which is actually great. We have a 5-year truce with Aragon. Normally in Crusader Kings 2, that was annoying, but here it means I can actually focus on maybe taking parts of North Africa before going to war with them. We have 2 diplomats now to do whatever we please with as well. How is our relationship with Navarra going? We're improving. Oh, we're not improving relation. They still like us a lot, though. So pretty soon we should be able to start vassalization on these guys. If you're not familiar with vassalization, essentially they remain autonomous and independent, but they're under the umbrella of our control, if that makes sense. We basically, we can tell them to come to war with us. They're part of our patrimony, for lack of a better word. So there's not really that much for us to do just yet, in my opinion at least. I am just going to basically let time continue to tick by on speed 5, and then we'll probably finish this episode off with a war against Granada to finish the Reconquista, which should be very easy. And in fact, you know, I'm actually going to go until July of 1448, and the reason for that, we're letting some money pour in. This will also let points pour in, which will allow us to get some technology eventually. We'll probably go until July just to see if I get a mission that has finished the Reconquista, because we might as well get some extra prestige and power for it. So, you know, if you get frustrated just watching this map tick by, then my apologies, but why are you watching this series? PDS titles often kind of devolve, and I don't mean that in a negative way, but often kind of turn into this map watching extravaganza. So we're just letting our treasury build up. We have 2 factions of the military who are very close to breaking out a civil war over what tactics our country should endorse. We need to back one of them to end the bickering. Either way, we're going to lose 1 stability. So we can say the forts are our strength, we get increased defensive, or we must always attack, we get increased offensive for 10 years. So this gives us more force limits, which I haven't talked about yet, but more discipline. This gives us better morale and better fort defense. I'm going to take increased offensive, and then I'm going to spend some administrative points here to improve our stability again. I hate to do this because it's going to slow down our technology gain, but by doing that, that's going to make our taxes come in better. It'll just be better overall for us, and in the short term at least. In the long term, it might slow down our technology growth, which sucks. We do have, you know, I'm going to improve relations with Portugal as well. Navarra, once this ticks up to 190, we'll be able to offer them vassalization. It's really tough to get someone to agree to vassalization, which makes sense. This is going to finish on July 16th. Now is now done, so we have completed our mission. We gained 10 diplomatic power, not a lot. So we can spread our culture to Galicia, which is over here. Again, this will take 48 months. That's a long time. Also, it'll cost us diplomatic power. We can solidify our papal relations. Papal State's opinion of Castile will have to be 150. That's not even close. And we can finish the Reconquista. That is the easiest mission. It also pays out with 15 army tradition. I believe that gives us higher force limits and also increased manpower maybe, and lose 4 war exhaustion. That's good. So we'll finish the Reconquista. All we need to do for this mission is to make sure that no provinces in the Iberian Peninsula are controlled by Muslims, which is just these provinces down here. So, one thing I want to point out, by the way, I haven't talked about force limits. This is very important. So you might be saying, I don't understand the military. How do you, create more troops? Why do you only have this many? Because it's not like Crusader Kings 2 where you're, raising and lowering levies from your vassals. This is, our standing army for our nation, essentially. The way that it works, basically, let's talk about this first. You have a force limit for your country. We have 35 regiments that we can use without penalties. If we get over that, we start spending way too much money. It basically causes our economy to tank pretty heftily. I think it also increases war exhaustion or something. I'm not 100% sure of the mechanic. I just know don't go over that number. So we've got a lot of space. We could build 14 more regiments without suffering any penalties here. Although I don't think we have the manpower to build 14 more regiments. Each regiment is 1,000, I think, so we could build 12.8 right now. The way you build units is essentially you just go, okay, I want to build medieval infantry or Latin knights, and then you would click on a country, for example. It'll cost you 25 ducats. It'll take 104 days in this province. It varies depending on the infrastructure of each province and the resources, I guess. And there you go. We'll build 2 more infantry now just to show off how you do it, and that's what you do. You can also hire mercenaries. They cost more money. I don't know if they factor into your force limits or not, but we'll eventually see that. For now, though, I think it's pretty obvious what we're going to do here. We're going to recall our diplomat from... Remember, you need a diplomat to declare war. So one is improving relations in Navarra, one is improving relations in Marrakesh, and actually, these guys like us a lot right now, but we're going to stop improving relations with Morocco, and our dude will return, and then we will declare war on Granada quickly. Now, this is something you want to do this as soon as possible, and we're going to do this to take Gibraltar. It doesn't really matter which one we declare war on. But this is something you want to do as soon as possible when you play as Castile, but you can't because of the truce. If you declare war straight away, you'll get a -3 stability penalty, which is actually a huge loss. That'll cost you 300 diplomatic power to rectify. It's the easiest war that you could possibly fight, though. This is baby's first war. They have a very limited number of troops and a small-ish navy. So essentially, I'm just going to walk my troops down to Gibraltar here, and we'll start them sieging, and we'll just break off some siege groups and pieces of those Kit Kat bars, and we should be able to hit 100% war score and get full annexation really, really quickly. Now, remember, we are getting attrition on some of these units, just because the stack size is a little bit too large and the supply limit is too low. This changes due to the weather as well, so I don't know if it's because it's wintry here. But anyway, we're just going to speed up to speed 5 because we're essentially just waiting for these sieges to finish. And once this is over, we'll probably call it quits for this episode. We were not necessarily acting that efficiently, but this is the way that I play Europa Universalis for, so we'll see how it works out for us. In the meantime, siege is slowly starting to tick up here. It looks like Granada's going to be the first one to finish. We have received reports from our colonial settlers in the Canarias that the surrounding waters have a very rich supply of fish. Fish may be one of the most basic foods available, but it's nonetheless an important resource. Good! So now this colony down here is going to start producing fish for us, which will give us more income. Fantastic. I'm glad with that. And as we get more technology, we will be able to get more settlers. We can create a self-sustaining colony, and it'll eventually just become, again, part of our realm or part of our patrimony, depending on how you want to call it. I don't know if patrimony is a derisive term at all. I don't think it is, but I mean no implications when I say it, just to clarify. Okay, so we've won the siege of Gibraltar, and might as well merge these forces, and then we'll just get them out to Cordoba, because we don't actually want to put these guys on the siege of Almera here, because then we'll be over the force limit in all likelihood, or supply limit, sorry, in all likelihood, and start suffering some attrition. So like I said, this is a very easy war for us to fight here. It's over. We're at 100% war score. Let's back our troops out. Just force of habit at this point. And now that we're at 100%, we can declare a peace with Gibraltar with whatever we want. And obviously, we're going to go for full annexation. But one thing I want to point out about the war system is that you can also put together your own peace deals piecemeal if you want. Like, for example, we could add all these things up and make them a vassal and whatnot. But this is useful if you don't get to 100% war score. But if you're up at 100% war score, you might as well just go for full annexation, which just gives you control of the enemy land. Okay, so we've accepted the peace offer. We got 15 prestige, which is nice. 0 aggressive expansion penalty because we have the reconquest casus belli, which I guess means that we have a claim on that land, so we can take over it without people being like, wow, those guys are dicks. And we got our mission complete. So we got lose 4 war exhaustion, gain 15 army tradition, and our diplomat is home. Okay, so let's, these are our 2 new units, by the way. Let's have them merge up here. Economy seems to do really nicely right now. And what are our next missions? Let's just have these troops kind of fall in line here. We are at 1450, so it's already been like 6 years in game. There we go. 17 troops. We might as well hire a free military leader, I suppose. Sure. This guy, Nuno Portocarrero, not particularly great, so we'll put him on this regimen here. This army here, I suspect, or I guess. Now, continue the Reconquista is another objective. This one's harder. We have to get Tangiers, Melilla, and Oran. So Tangiers is right here, Melilla is right here, and Oran. So we really have to go to town on Algiers and Morocco here. So I want to take care of Aragon first, so we'll ignore that mission for now. Solidify papal relations is going to be hard. The reward's not great. Spread our culture to Galicia. Gain 10 diplomatic power. Not a huge reward, but a smart idea to spread your culture to any nation that you can, because it allows your nation to have kind of greater unity and thus less revolt risk. Anyway, that's going to do it for the first episode. We fought a war against Aragon, and we spread the borders of Castile all the way down to the Straits of Gibraltar here, which is nice. And what a nice-looking Iberian Peninsula compared to what it looks like in your average Crusader Kings 2 game, right? I'm not saying that because it's, you know, Catholic and death to the Muslims or anything like that. Of course not. I'm just saying it because it looks like a flag here or something like that. Green, yellow, red. Is that like South African flag or Ghana flag or something like that? Just looks visually appealing. In any case, we're going to try to completely ruin this visual appealing nature by destroying Aragon in a future episode. I just want to see what their allies are like. Burgundy, Provence, and the Papal State. Ugh, that worries me a little bit. I wonder if we can have them excommunicated. Let me quickly check. Nope, they have too much influence with the Holy Father. Portugal still loves us. They're allied with England and Castile. That's a nice set of powerful allies. Morocco is allied with us. Algiers, allied with us. So, you remember we did fabricate a claim on Aragon in the last episode, so maybe that is the first thing that we will do in the next episode, is just go straight to town on this Aragon province, and we can start taking those provinces piecemeal or even conquer them entirely. That's good news. But Aragon has a substantial fleet, and we might actually want to build up our army before we go to war with them. But again, as always, thanks for watching. As I always or often say at the start of a new series, if you enjoyed the episode, please consider showing your support by liking or commenting. But either way, your viewing is appreciated nonetheless. And if you want to see more, make sure to subscribe. It really helps out. As always, though, no matter what you choose to do, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the episode. Check the link in the video description to pick up Europa Universalis 4 on Steam. It is a great game, and I will see you guys in episode 2.